If your child is AuDHD and loves fantasy gaming, stories, imaginary worlds, you've probably noticed they can focus inside those worlds in a way that seems impossible anywhere else. And if you've tried to find music that captures the same quality of engaged focus for homework, reading, or creative play, you may have had the same experience I did. Nothing quite fits. The calming music feels too passive for a brain that needs engagement. The more energetic music tips into overwhelm. And the game soundtracks they already love often have dramatic swells, sudden changes, or lyrics that pull them out of focus rather than holding them in it. This playlist exists because of a very specific request from my child. They wanted something orchestral and adventurous for when they need to focus rather than settle. They told me one well-known fantasy theme was too fast and too intense, and another was too slow. They needed the space between those two things built for a brain that needs structure and predictability, even inside a fantasy world. So, we went looking for that space and built something to fill it. Why fantasy music works for AuDHD brains. Before I get into what we made, I want to explain why fantasy music specifically is worth pursuing for AuDHD children, because the research is genuinely interesting. Video game soundtracks are specifically composed to support sustained attention without demanding it. They're designed to keep you immersed and engaged without pulling conscious attention away from the task at hand. Research on ADHD and music found that video game music was generally beneficial for people with ADHD, improving immersion and flow. And for children who already have positive associations with fantasy game worlds, that association itself becomes regulatory. The brain has already mapped those environments as safe, structured, and engaging. But there's an important distinction I want to make clear. This playlist is not designed for settling or calming down. It's designed for sustained, engaged focus, holding a regulated brain in an active, imaginative state during a task that requires attention. Homework, drawing, reading, building, creating. That's a different neurological purpose, and it needs music built differently to serve it. What the neuroscience points to. So, what does the neuroscience say about what AuDHD brains need from focus music specifically? To understand that, you first need to understand how AuDHD brains process sensory input. Research consistently shows that AuDHD brains process sensory information at a significantly amplified level compared to neurotypical brains. Music that feels gentle to most people may feel overwhelming to your child. And music designed for neurotypical focus, which often includes lyrics, dynamic swells, and unpredictable changes, can actively increase dysregulation in a sensory-sensitive AuDHD brain, rather than supporting focus. The ADHD component of AuDHD means the brain needs enough structured, rhythmic input to stay engaged. Too little, and the brain drifts. Too much, and it tips into overstimulation. Research points to a tempo between 78 and 88 beats per minute for this kind of engaged focus. Fast enough to feel forward-moving and purposeful, calm enough to stay within a regulated state. The autistic component means the music needs to be completely predictable. Melodies need to resolve, every phrase needs to complete itself, rather than hanging unresolved, because an autistic brain cannot rest inside unresolved tension. The sounds need to sit in warm, mid-range frequencies rather than harsh, high pitches, because harsh frequencies activate the threat detection system, rather than supporting a focused state. And nothing can change suddenly. No unexpected volume spikes, no dramatic shifts in intensity. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory research specifically identified that warm mid-range frequencies overlap with the human vocal range, and the nervous system is hardwired to process that frequency range as a signal of safety. That's the timbre behind the orchestral instrumentation in this playlist. Soft strings, French horn, gentle woodwind, all sitting in that warm mid-range. Nothing shrill, nothing piercing. And no lyrics. Lyrics activate language processing, which competes directly for the cognitive resources your child needs for the task they're trying to focus on. So, the full criteria for this playlist: a consistent 78 to 88 beat per minute pulse, warm mid-range orchestral timbres, forward-moving melodic structure that feels adventurous without being dramatic, complete melodic resolution every time, no lyrics, no sudden spikes, binaural elements layered underneath to support sustained neural engagement. We tested tracks throughout the process, and my child listened and gave feedback at every stage. What tempo felt right? What felt too slow? What tipped into overwhelming? That feedback shaped every decision in this playlist directly. The result is music that occupies the specific space between too passive and too intense, which for an AuDHD brain is a very particular and very important space. It feels like being inside a gentle adventure, curious and forward-moving. Here's what it sounds like. The full playlist is linked below and completely free. No sign up, no subscription, nothing to buy. Every track is built on the same principles you just heard: orchestral warmth, forward movement, complete resolution, nothing sudden or overwhelming. It works best during active focused tasks like homework, drawing, reading, building, or creating. If it helps your child focus, share it with someone whose child needs it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more. And check out our Patreon page for more support and resources, and our Mindful Apparel online store for daily reminders to stay calm and regulated. You'll find links in the description.